Hello and welcome back to day 109 of our Chronological Bible in a Year. Reading plan, today we have 1 Samuel 28 through 31 and Psalm 18. 1 Samuel 28. And it came to be in those days that the Pelethites gathered their armies for battle to fight with Israel. And Achish said to David, "You know, of course, that you are to go out with me in the army, you and your men." And David said to Achish, "Very well, and you shall know what your servant should do." And Achish said to David, "Very well, I make you one of my chief guardians forever." And Shemuel had died, and all Israel had mourned for him, and buried him in Ramah in his own city. And Shaul had put away the mediums and the spiritists from the land. And the Pelethites were gathered and came and encamped at Shunem. And Shaul gathered all Israel, and they encamped at Gilboa. And when Shaul saw the army of the Pelethites, he was afraid, and his heart trembled greatly. And Shaul inquired of Yahuwah, but Yahuwah did not answer him, either by dreams, or by Urim, or by the Nebaim, which is the prophets. Shaul then said to his servants, "Find me a woman who is a medium, to go to her and inquire of her." And his servant said to him, "Look, there is a woman who is a medium at Endor." And Shaul disguised himself and put on other garments and went, he and 2 men with him. And they came to the woman by night. And he said, "Please divine for me, and bring up for me the one I shall name." But the woman said to him, "Look, you know what Shaul has done, how he has cut off the mediums and the spiritists from the land. Why then do you lay a snare for my life to put me to death?" And Shaul swore to her by Yahuwah, saying, "As Yahuwah lives, no punishment comes upon you for this matter." And the woman said, "Whom do I bring up for you?" So he said, "Bring up Shemuel for me." And when the woman saw Shemuel, she cried out with a loud voice. And the woman spoke to Shaul, saying, "Why have you deceived me? You yourself are Shaul." And the sovereign said to her, "Do not be afraid. What did you see?" And the woman said to Shaul, "I saw a spirit coming up out of the earth." And he said to her, "What is his form?" And she said, "An old man is coming up, and he is covered with a mantle." And Shaul knew that it was Shemuel, and he bowed with his face to the ground and did obeisance. And Shemuel said to Shaul, "Why have you disturbed me by bringing me up?" And Shaul answered, "I am deeply distressed, for the Pelethites are fighting against me, and Elohim has turned aside from me and does not answer me any more, neither by Nebaim nor by dreams. So I have called you to reveal to me what I should do." Then Shemuel said, "And why do you ask me, seeing Yahuwah has turned aside from you and has become your enemy? And Yahuwah has done for himself as he spoke by me. For Yahuwah has torn the rein out of your hand and given it to your neighbor, to David, because you did not obey the voice of Yahuwah, nor execute his burning wrath upon Amalek. Therefore Yahuwah has done this matter to you today. Further, Yahuwah also gives Israel with you into the hand of the Pelethites. And tomorrow you and your sons are with me. Yahuwah also gives the army of Israel into the hand of the Pelethites." And immediately Shaul fell Immediately Shaul fell on the ground, his complete length, and greatly feared because of the words of Shemuel. And there was no strength in him, for he had eaten no food all day or all night. And the woman came to Shaul, and saw that he had been greatly disturbed, and said to him, "See, your female servant has obeyed your voice, and I have put my life in my hands, and have listened to the words which you spoke to me. And now please listen to the voice of your female servant too, and let me put a piece of bread before you, and eat, so that you have strength when you go on your way." But he refused, and said, "I am not going to eat." But his servants, together with the woman, urged him, and he listened to their voice. So he rose from the ground and sat on the bed. And the woman had a fatted calf in the house, and she quickly slaughtered it. And she took flour and kneaded it, and baked unleavened bread from it. Then she brought it before Shaul and his servants, and they ate and rose up and went away that night. Chapter 29. And the Pelethites gathered all their armies at Aphek, while Israel encamped by a fountain which is in Yezreel. And the princes of the Pelethites were passing on by hundreds and by thousands, and David and his men were passing on in the rear with Achish. And the princes of the Pelethites said, "Who are these Ebrim?" which are the Hebrews. And Achish said to the princes of the Pelethites, "Is this not David, the servant of Shaul, sovereign of Israel, who has been with me these days or these years? And to this day I have found naught in him since he came over." But the princes of the Pelethites were wroth with him, and the princes of the Pelethites said to him, "Send the man back, let him return to the place which you have appointed for him, and do not let him go down with us to battle, lest in the battle he become our adversary. For with what could he appease his master, if not with the heads of these men? Is this not David, of whom they sang to each other in dances, saying, Shaul smote his thousands, and David his 10,000s? And Achish called David and said to him, As Yahuwah lives, you have been straight, and your going out and your coming in with me in the army is good in my eyes. For to this day I have not found evil in you since the day of your coming to me. But in the eyes of the princes you are not good. And now return and go in peace, and do no evil in the eyes of the princes of the Pelethites. And David said to Achish, But what have I done? And to this day what have you found in your servant as long as I have been with you, that I should not go and fight against the enemies of my master the sovereign? And Achish answered and said to David, I know that you are as good in my eyes as a messenger of Elohim, but the princes of the Pelethites have said, Let him not go up with us into the battle. And now rise early in the morning with your master's servants who have come with you. And as soon as you are up early in the morning and have light, then go. And David and his men rose up early to go in the morning to return to the land of the Pelethites, and the Pelethites went up to Yisrael. Oh, that's a short chapter. Chapter 30. And it came to be when David and his men came to Ziklag on the third day that the Amalekites had invaded the south and Ziklag, and smote Ziklag and burned it with fire. And they took captive the women and those who were there from small to great. They did not kill anyone, but they led them away and went their way. And David and his men came to the city and saw it burned with fire, and their wives and their sons and their daughters had been taken captive. And David and the people who were with him lifted up their voices and wept until they had no more power to weep. And David's two wives, Ahinoam the Yisraelitess, and Abigail the widow of Nabal the Carmelite, had been taken captive. And David was greatly distressed, for the people spoke of stoning him, because the being of all the people was grieved, each for his sons and his daughters. But David strengthened himself in Yahuwah his Elohim. And David said to Abiathar the Kohen, which is the priest, son of Ahimelech, Please bring the shoulder garment here to me. So Abiathar brought the shoulder garment to David. And David inquired of Yahuwah, saying, Do I pursue this band? Do I overtake them? And he answered him, Pursue, for you shall certainly overtake them, and certainly rescue. So David went, he and the 600 men who were with him, and came to the Wadi Besor, which is the valley Besor, where a halt was made by those who were left behind. While David pursued, he and 400 men, for 200 halted, who were too faint to pass over the Wadi Besor. And they found a man in the field, a Mitzrite, and took him to David. And they gave him bread, and he ate, and they let him drink water. And gave him a piece of a cake of figs and 2 clusters of raisins. And when he had eaten, that should be it. And when he had eaten, his strength came back to him, for he had not eaten bread nor drunk water for 3 days and 3 nights. And David said to him, To whom do you belong, and where are you from? And he said, I am a young man from Mitzrayim, which is Egypt, servant of an Amalekite, and my master left me behind, for I had been sick 3 days. We attacked the south of the Kerethites, and against that which belongs to Yehudah, and upon the south of Caleb, and we burned Ziklag with fire. And David said to him, Could you bring me down to the marauding band? And he said, Swear to me by Elohim that you neither kill me nor surrender me into the hands of my master, then I bring you down to this marauding band. And he brought him down, and saw they were spread out over all the land, eating and drinking and dancing, because of all the great spoil which they had taken from the land of the Pelethites and from the land of Yehudah. And David smote them from twilight until the evening of the next day, and none of them escaped, except 400 young men who rode on camels and fled. And David rescued all that the Amalekites had taken. David also rescued his 2 wives, and there was none missing of them, whether small or great, whether sons or daughters, or spoil or whatever they had taken from them. David recovered all. Besides, David captured all the flocks and herds they had driven before those livestock, and they said, This is David's spoil. And David came to the 200 men who were too faint to follow David, who had also been left at the Wadi Besor. And they went out to meet David and to meet the people who were with him. And when David came near the people, he greeted them. And all the evil and worthless men of those who went with David answered and said, Because they did not go with us, we do not give them any of the spoil that we have rescued, except for every man's wife and children, and let them take them and go. But David said, My brothers, do not do so with what Yahuwah has given us, who has protected us and gave into our hand the band that came against us. And who would listen to you in this matter? For as his portion is who goes down to the battle, so is his portion who remains with the baggage. They share alike. And it came to be from that day forward he appointed it for a law and a right ruling for Yisrael to this day. And when David came to Ziklag, he sent some of the spoil to the elders of Yehudah to his friends, saying, Here is a present for you from the spoil of the enemies of Yehudah. To those in Bethel, and to those in Ramoth of the south, and to those in Yatir, and to those in Aroer, and to those in Siphmoth, and to those in Eshtemoa, and to those in Rakal, and to those in the cities of the Yerahmeelites, and to those in the cities of the Canaanites, and to those in Hormah, and to those in Korashan, and to those in Athak, and to those in Hebron, and to all the places where David had gone up and down, he and his men. And it looks like this is actually the last chapter, chapter 31. Last chapter of 1 Samuel, that is. And the Pelethites were fighting against Yisrael, and the men of Yisrael fled from before the Pelethites, and fell slain on Mount Gilboa. And the Pelethites followed hard after Shaul and his sons. And the Pelethites smote Jehonathan and Abinadab and Malchishua, sons of Shaul. And the battle went hard against Shaul, and the archers hit him, so that he was severely wounded by the archers. And Shaul said to his armor-bearer, Draw your sword, and thrust me through with it, lest the uncircumcised men come and thrust me through, and roll themselves on me. But his armor-bearer would not, for he was greatly afraid. So Shaul took the sword, and fell on it. And when his armor-bearer saw that Shaul was dead, he also fell on his sword, and died with him. Thus Shaul died, and 3 of his sons, and his armor-bearer, also all his men, together on that day. And they saw, the men of Yisrael who were beyond the valley, and those who were beyond the Jordan, that the men of Yisrael had fled, and that Shaul and his sons were dead. So they forsook the cities and fled, and the Pelethites came and dwelt in them. And the next day it came to be, when the Pelethites came to strip the slain, that they found Shaul and his 3 sons fallen on Mount Gilboa. And they cut off his head, and stripped off his armor, and sent word throughout the land of the Pelethites to announce it in the house of their idols, and to the people. And they placed his armor in the house of the Ashtaroth, and they fastened his body to the wall of Bethshan. And the inhabitants of Jabesh Gilead heard what the Pelethites had done to Shaul, and all the brave men arose and went all night, and took the body of Shaul and the bodies of his sons from the wall of Bethshan. And they came to Jabesh and burned them there. And they took their bones and buried them under the tamarisk tree at Jabesh, and fasted for 7 days. And that concludes the book of 1 Samuel, and we, like I mentioned in the beginning, we have 1 psalm. Let's see. It is Psalm 18. We'll get there. Okay, here. Nope, that's not it. Here it is. Okay, Psalm 18. To the chief singer of David, the servant of Yahuwah, who spoke to Yahuwah the words of this song in the day Yahuwah delivered him from the hand of all his enemies, and from the hand of Shaul. He said, I love you, O Yahuwah, my strength. Yahuwah is my rock and my stronghold and my deliverer. My El is my rock, I take refuge in him. My shield and the horn of my deliverance, my high tower. I call upon Yahuwah, the one to be praised, and I am saved from my enemies. The cords of death surrounded me, and the floods of Belial made me afraid. The cords of the grave were all around me, the snares of death were before me. In my distress I called upon Yahuwah, and to my Elohim I cried. He heard my voice from his Hakal, which is his temple, correct? Mm-hmm. Okay, thank you. And my cry went before him into his ears. And the earth shook and trembled, even the foundations of the mountains were troubled. And they shook because he was wroth. Smoke went up from his nostrils, and consuming fire from his mouth. Coals were kindled by it. And he bowed the Shamayim, which is the heavens, and came down. A dense cloud was under his feet. And he rode upon a cherub and flew. He flew upon the wings of the wind. He made darkness his covering, around him his booth. Darkness of waters, thick clouds of the skies. From the brightness before him his thick clouds passed, hail and coals of fire. And Yahuwah thundered in the Shamayim, and the Most High sent forth his voice, hail and coals of fire. And he sent out his arrows and scattered them, and much lightning it confused them. And the channels of waters were seen, and the foundations of the world were uncovered. At your rebuke, O Yahuwah, at the blast of the breath of your nostrils, He sent from above, he took me, he drew me out of many waters. He delivered me from my strong enemy, and from those hating me, for they were stronger than I. They confronted me in the day of my calamity, but Yahuwah was my support, and he brought me out into a large place. He delivered me, for he delighted in my righteousness. Yahuwah rewarded me according to my righteousness, according to the cleanness of my hands he repaid me. For I have guarded the ways of Yahuwah, and have not acted wickedly against my Elohim. For all his right rulings are before me, and I did not turn from his laws. And I am perfect before him, and I guard myself from my wickedness. And Yahuwah repays me according to my righteousness, according to the cleanness of my hands before his eyes. With the kind you show yourself kind, with the perfect one you show yourself perfect. With the clean you show yourself clean, and with the wicked you show yourself twisted. For you save the afflicted people, but bring down those whose eyes are haughty. For you yourself light my lamp. Yahuwah my Elohim makes my darkness light. For with you I run against a band, and with my Elohim I leap over a wall. The El, his way is perfect. The word of Yahuwah is proven. He is a shield to all who take refuge in him. For who is Eloah besides Yahuwah? And who is a rock except our Elohim? It is El who girds me with strength and makes my way perfect, making my feet like the feet of deer, and puts me on my high places, teaching my hands for battle, that my arms shall bend a bow of bronze. And you give me the shield of your deliverance, and your right hand supports me, and your lowliness makes me great. You enlarge my step under me, and my feet shall not slip. I pursue my enemies and overtake them, and do not turn back till they are destroyed. I crush them, and they are unable. Sorry for that break. We were at verse 38. I crush them, and they are unable to rise. They fall under my feet, and you gird me with strength for battle, because you cause my adversaries to bow under me, and you have made my enemies turn their backs. And as for those hating me, I cut them off. They cry, but no one is there to save. To Yahuwah, but he answers them not. And I beat them as dust before the wind. I empty them out like dirt in the streets. You deliver me from the strivings of the people, and put me at the head of the nations. A people I have not known serve me. As soon as they hear of me, they obey me. The foreigners submit to me. The foreigners fade away and come frightened from their strongholds. Yahuwah lives, and Baruch is my rock, which means blessed is my rock. And exalted is the Elohim of my deliverance, the El who avenges me. And he humbles the peoples under me, and he is my deliverer from my enemies. You lift me up above those who rise against me. You deliver me from a man of violence. Therefore I give thanks to you, O Yahuwah, among nations, and I sing praise to your name, making great the deliverance of his sovereign, and showing kindness to his anointed, to David and his seed forever. And that concludes our readings for today. Thanks for joining. Hope you're reading along, and peace and blessings and love to you. See you in the next one.